Hi everybody, here's Christian, and this is Teamwork Cast.
Hey everyone, it's Shepard, also from Teamwork Cast.
And I'm Cthulhu. Really, I'm just Nimitz's pawn.
Oh, he's so
You
cute.
are
Oh
so
my
cute.
God.
I'm so sad that we can't share Nimitz with people on YouTube. It's just amazing. It's just little furry loaf sitting
It's
there.
another reason for them to go over to the Twitch channel and either look at a save stream or tune in Sunday mornings.
So yeah, something I installed recently is actually a plug-in for Chrome. Where you just type in your Twitch name, and it will pop up a message telling you whenever somebody on Twitch went online, or somebody that you follow on Twitch went online. That's so useful. Ever since then, I've been like on point with the streams. It's great. Can thoroughly recommend this. I'm gonna check what's the name of this app. It's called, I think, Twitch Live. It's just called Twitch Live.
Nice.
Yes.
You'd think that would be something that Twitch themselves would make.
Yeah.
Well, Twitch this week just launched their like a Steam launcher type platform, because they've also added like social media and stuff like that. So now there's a standalone application for Twitch. So that will probably have it built in, where it's like, oh, if you have the app running, then anytime someone goes live, oh look, pop up.
I don't know, because you have to like have an extra app running, while this is like something that is just while you're browsing anyway, where you have the browser open, it just notifies you.
Yeah, I downloaded that launcher and it's not great.
Yeah. Well, for now we're on the quest for Eruption Embodied. We're gonna hunt Uragon and try and break his jaw and tail.
Yes.
It's from the Volcano Slopes resident. There's a hyper-Uragon near our village, spewing out so much smoke and molten rocks that I really thought the volcano was erupting. Our village is in real trouble. You've got to help.
Nice.
We're gonna go beat up an Uragon.
Definitely. I learned what the word for volcano today.
Yeah?
I think it's
What is it?
I think it's Kazen. I'm not really sure.
Nice.
It's not completely embedded in my memory yet, because I'm using this Wanikani. It's kind of amazing, how just eating up the vocabulary and just all just goes into your head. It's like, after a couple of weeks using it and then seeing what kind of stuff you've been already through is like, whoa, crazy.
We're just gonna make you play Double Cross for us.
Yeah, I mean that's the dream, Eventually, Shepard, because you're a fan of Persona.
Yeah, that's the time. I mean, that's the real deal. I mean, you could have been sinking your teeth into that for a while now.
Yeah.
If you were fully fluent.
So, all those games that come out, you can play them earlier, you can play games that never come out. Also, you get like the full, experience of them, not just like some kind of weird translation where everything gets lost and...
Sometimes the translations are better, though, right?
I'm not gonna poo on people who translate them. Big respect and stuff like that. But there's always like when you translate, it's always kind of like a different version of that thing. It's always not.
This is true. That's true. There's two different interpretations.
Yes.
Come at me, buddy.
And so, for example, something I really love is.
That's ridiculous.
What happened there?
I don't want to talk about it. Let's not talk about it. Let's keep talking about Japanese stuff.
Okay. So what do I want to say? Yeah, for example, like watching anime like an original language with subtitles is like gives you a little bit more extra than watching dubs. Because if it's dubbed, then there's inevitably, it sounds just different.
Oh, it's got to be even worse because they got to try and match up a little bit of the lip syncing.
Yeah, and they pick maybe different actors, and there's just different actors. Then it's just kind of like a different version. Then.
God, it's
Guess
so
fast. I feel like I've never fought an Uragon before. I don't know what's going on here. Did I forget?
Oh, it's a hyper Uragon. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be tough.
You weren't listening when I was reading the quest description, were you?
I was so intoxicated by your beautiful voice. Okay. Well, everybody focus up. I feel like is it possible that my armor is very weak against fire?
It's possible.
Possible. You are wearing bug.
I am a bug.
We are all bugs.
So Cthulhu, I've heard that you got into the three body problem.
Yeah, I'm like, it's interesting. The first book is really depressing.
It is, right? It's super like wow, okay.
Like, and it takes forever really for it to start getting towards the science fiction portion.
Yeah.
Like, it really is just like this. It starts out as like you're reliving this horrible time in China.
Yeah. I was like, when the first chapter, I started listening to this and was like, wait a minute, did I pick up the wrong book by accident? Like,
yeah.
Did it start during the Cultural Revolution?
Yeah.
I
think we talked about this. Yeah,
yes.
This is probably the worst time of modern Chinese history, and actually, just in humanity.
Yeah.
Just talking about humanity in general. I mean, it's just sad.
Yeah, and they're very, very. They're depicting, every bit as horrible as it was. So yeah.
Oh yeah, it's pretty bad. But I mean, it ends at an interesting point. Yes. It's not your typical like sci-fi invasion by any means.
Yeah.
No. They like the premises are really good. Like as I'm sitting there, like, wow, this actually. That would suck. Like, how would people do this?
Yeah.
And then the second book gets really like, okay. I'm like,
I love it.
The way the wall facer program that they deal with is just so intriguing. Like, and it makes sense. But then you get like the breakers and stuff. It's like, oh man. This is
it's ridiculous.
You guys are using terms that sound like it's out of like NetHack or something like that.
Oh, it
sort of is.
Yeah.
I don't know how spoiler you want to get.
No,
so
let's not, because I think the joy of the book is also like discovering all the concepts.
Now, anyone who does start doing it, from someone who knows no Chinese and really not much of the culture, it's really hard to follow names.
Yeah, names are difficult,
especially when you're doing like I'm doing the audiobook versions.
Yeah, me too.
And so it's hard, and then the phrasings of stuff. Just because of the way it was translated is very odd at times, but it's still really good.
But I love it, especially the phrasing, because like some things are like so elaborately described. Yeah, and then you realize that they have like probably very simple words for this, very specific simple words in Chinese for this, and there's just no equivalent for this in English, and they have to like have those elaborate descriptions or like proverbs.
It is a very simple language in terms of. Because you figure, I mean, it's a highly symbolic language.
Yeah.
And even like the consonants and things like that, the way, just like, I don't know what you would call them, word bites, right? Those are limited in the sense that, you mostly increase your vocabulary by changing your tone. It's almost like an alien language when you compare it to like English.
Yeah.
It's kind of a neat thing.
And if you listen into audiobook, it's really funny because I really like the narrator, but he does the normal standard English for all the Chinese people, but then any other nationality, he gives accents.
That's funny.
So you're sitting there like, wait, I know this guy's Chinese by his name. But yet he's talking in plain English, and yet the Japanese guy that's now talking has the standard Japanese like.
That's a little goofy.
I'm just so like funny. And it's one of those things like, okay, at that point I was like, I wish they would have done one of two things: either carried the Chinese accent the entire time, or changed all these Japanese names to be at least English.
And Chinese, you mean?
Guys, I'm dropping.
Chinese.
I'm dropping bombs.
Okay.
No, but it's. Oh yeah, I can also drop some bombs.
Don't do it.
Oh. Never mind. No, it's. I love it. It's really fun. It reminds me a little bit, about. There's two things it reminds me of. First of all, the new Independence Day.
Yeah.
Because the new Independence Day wasn't actually a very good movie.
No.
But the original premise, where it's like, okay, here's humanity, they know aliens are coming and they're preparing for it.
Yeah.
That's something that the second book totally reminds me of, where it's like, okay, there's the humanity trying to prepare themselves for invasion and all these crazy projects they're starting and all those crazy things they're doing. So that's one of the fun things. And the second fun thing it reminds me of is something like Death Note or something.
Yeah.
Where
That's
it's like,
a cool analogy.
it's like this very simple premise, but then it takes this premise and goes so far with this, and you know, all these logical repercussions from this very simple premise, and you know, all these little quirks that it experiments with. That feels very Death Note for me.
So, I just have to, because for me, like, some of the stuff they do with the wall break, with the wall facers.
Yes.
Have you gotten to the point where the second wall facer plan was rejected?
Yes.
Okay. Because that, to me, at that point, I was like, holy, that was like the point where I was like, okay, because the first time it happened, I was like, okay, I guess I sort of see his plan, and it was kind of obvious, but that one was the one where I was like, oh my god, I did not really ever expect that to be the true plan.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh god. And then as they're like, yeah, we told you this was gonna happen. You're like, you know what? Now thinking about it, yeah,
It kind of makes sense.
they sort of did.
It's hilarious.
It is such a good like. I would highly recommend it to anybody who is a science fiction fan.
Yes.
You think it's ever going to get like a movie or a TV series adaptation?
Oh yeah, it's the Chinese are making one.
Yeah.
Not sure if it's going to be great.
I don't know how well it's going to translate into a movie, though.
There's a lot of things that are very
because
like cerebral and conceptual.
Yeah, and so much of it is really based on like the dialogue and interactions. And most of the time, when you see books like that translated into series, they pass over a lot of that because they need to get to things quicker.
I think Game of Thrones is the only one that's ever been successful in this.
Yeah, but Game of Thrones is like written in like a scene by scene kind of basis, and each scene has like a arc, so to speak.
Like an
that you
arc,
can follow.
but like it's all
and
from first person, and it translates well in spite of that. You're still the actors.
But the other thing though is like the Game of Thrones series cuts out a lot of really interesting things that really tie the story together in the book, and if they did that with this, it would lose so much of what actually makes it a really good story. Just because of how things, like the littlest things in this series really have some of the biggest impacts.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, oh, Shepard, I threw you in the air. I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, it's fine.
There's a lot of like Sherlock Holmes kind of stuff where it's like, oh, this little detail that we so carelessly mentioned, that becomes like such a big deal, and you would have to like show all of the things with all the details for the payoffs to make sense.
Yeah, especially like some of the stuff that deals with the actual like
Oh god,
body
oh god,
problem.
I'm dying.
In the
Help
first
me,
book.
please.
I'm gonna help. Oh no, too late.
That sucks.
Well, it's okay. We'll pull through. It's gonna be fine.
It's only the first part.
It's just depressing when you see your life go to red and you're rolling around on the ground and you're like, no.
Yeah. So that's a really fun book, and we can recommend it thoroughly, I think. I've been
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to. Like, I've read the synopsis for the third book, and I'm just like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that one as much.
Yeah, it sounds
but
like
the second book is really
weird
good.
departure. But you know, the first book and the second book were very different from each other.
Yeah, so it's very much this thing. Like, the first book is like the book of discovery.
Yeah.
The second book is like, how would we deal with aliens today?
Yeah.
And the third book is far future, like, oh, now what do we do now that we coexist? Yeah. And it's just like, okay.
I don't know. I'm open. So far, you know,
I'm still gonna go through it because I've been thoroughly enjoying everything else so far. So
definitely, it's good stuff. Yeah. So the one thing that I'm actually not so excited about, speaking of Asian culture, is the new
Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell doesn't really look that great.
It's just
kind of a
even
weird
from
thing to make a modern movie out of, right?
Well, and just from like the trailer stuff, like you can tell that they've changed. They've kept parts of the original story, but stripped it down to where it's almost unrecognizable.
Yeah.
It really destroys the character of the Major when you do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that character, very, very unique story, and now it's going to be completely different.
So I kind of feel bad about being such a downer about this, because there was a lot of similar movies in recent times, like Ghostbusters and stuff like that, where people were hating on it before it even came out. Yeah. And so being like part of the poopy crowd this time around kind of makes me feel bad.
He's he's weak. Do we want to kill him or capture him?
It doesn't matter either way. But I remember, like, when, like, Scarlett Johansson got announced for the Major, you were a firm supporter of, like, give it a chance.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And I meanwhile, I'm still in there, like, this is just ridiculous. Like, why can't they use an Asian actress? Like, there are plenty out there. Yeah. There's no reason to do an American actress for a truly Asian role.
Yeah. Well, if everything else looked like they nailed it down, then I wouldn't perhaps mind Scarlett Johansson so much. Then it would be fine.
The way it's looking, it looks really very much like it's been completely whitewashed.
Yeah, and especially this part where like there's one specific thing that really irks me, where original Ghost in the Shell was very much about the Major is a production model, so to speak. She has a body that is mass produced. And she's really nothing special. She's just one person who has like a very terrific accident and is in this body. And actually, the entire plot of the original movie was about this guy using these artificial bodies to jump from one body to another. But now in the new version, she's like this superhero who had like this unique accident and unique things happen to her. She's the first of her kind and stuff like that. And that's the opposite of what the movie is trying to convey. It's bad.
She's not one of the masses. She is
the special thing, superhero.
Yeah.
She's like Neo.
Now, I mean, she even though she was one of the masses before, she was still unique as a character in what she went through.
Sure,
but she wasn't the only buddy that had that. And in this one, she is the only like person who's effectively only a brain in a box.
Yeah, and all the other people are...
And everyone else is... everything else is either basically somewhat cyborg or a complete robot.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
It's just... Actually, but, the discussion about the movie actually made me really curious about going back to original manga, where it's like... just a tiny little incomprehensible drawing, and everything else is just a huge bubble of text, of incomprehensible... philosophical text, and that for me, that's Ghost in the Shell, like this very conceptual, thinking about crazy things. And it seems like the movie is going away from this, trying to boil things down to something that's much more palpable for a superhero movie savvy audience,
which is sad. Very sad.
Sad, but a happy thing is that we actually made it. We actually defeated this Oregon. I'm amazed, guys. We're doing well.
We are the bestest.
You've achieved peak bugness.
We all achieve peak bugness. And we're going to move on and continue our bug existence in the next episode. I hope you will join us next time. And as always, good luck and good hunt. Meow. Oh man, look at Nimitz there, just completely chilling out.
Having a hard time getting those nuggets out? Squatty Potty's like a mega pickaxe for your butt! Brought to you by Squatty Potty!